Lee, we've got a very special episode of High Dive today. We're here in your house.
Hey, Jason.
Good to see you, man. It's been, actually, this is the first time I've ever visited you here. I've been in several different homes that you've had over the years, and you've been in mine. You and I have known each other for 30 years, Lee, and you were one of the first people I ever interviewed on Crowdsource the Truth, so thanks.
So what do you think of Shenandoah Valley?
It's nice. It's a very nice day, and you're in a nice, quiet neighborhood here. We got birds chirping. Everything is great.
Yeah, and pretty good restaurant, right?
Yeah, we had a nice lunch at a local Italian restaurant. That was very good. But we want to talk about this battle between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. It's calming down a little bit now, but what do you think about this whole thing?
Well, first off, I think your graphic was great.
Thank you.
And now, it might not have been what I used because I'm not a comics guy.
Right.
But let me point out that what I would use might have been Shakespeare. But in a sense, to be philosophical, is not Marvel the new Shakespeare?
It is.
Right. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the reason I think that's highly appropriate, what we're seeing between Elon and Trump is really a battle between two forces that are almost fictional.
Even here in the room,
Like,
if we're just using
You can see Shakespeare would have written about
recording.
Elon and Trump, right?
Yes.
And when you look at things like Hamlet or Macbeth or King Lear, Shakespeare was dealing with issues of power and who has power.
But also, wasn't he sort of pop culture at the time? It was
That's
written
ri-
for
that's
common
right.
man.
And that's what I'm saying. That Marvel analogy is, I'm old school, but I'm not modern like the kids today with their Marvel movies.
Yeah.
But I do think it's just appropriate because again, it's a morality play
Right.
being played out in real time.
Right.
And so I heard an interesting discussion. Alexander Mercoris and on Duran was talking about the Elon thing. And Alexander was saying he thought Trump's going to win.
This argument.
There's no... He just kind of said, in general,
Right.
it's you can't go up against a politician. But let me make a contrary point. Let me ask you a question. In 10 years, in 2035, who can we say for sure will not be president?
Trump, of course.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I'd love to say 10 years because that's pretty safe. He might be president in 28.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but it's possible.
Is it?
And I don't like bets that I can lose.
Right.
So I'm saying, no doubt, in 10 years. And who will probably be one of the richest guys in the world in 10 years?
Elon Musk.
Right. So who's got more power? Well, it depends what the scale you're using is. You see, I think Elon Musk has a different kind of power. Now, right now, again, just factually, who controls an army?
Right. Trump. Yeah, that's why it's Superman versus the Hulk, because it's this classic battle of who of these two ultimate powers in different arenas could possibly overpower the other. And we don't really know.
And I would say, now here's a trigger question. And I think the answer is, it's hard to say. But I'll ask you a different question. Who's more famous, Trump or Musk?
It's hard, I mean, international, it's hard to say.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just being fair. I think it's hard to say who's more famous. Now, and this is a classic question to me of where power comes from. And we're talking about something at lunch that I think relates to this in a way. People know about Operation Mockingbird,
Yeah.
okay? But people think of it as old school Operation Mockingbird. When Mockingbird was put together by people like Cordmeyer in the 50s and 60s, where was the power? You look, in the 50s and 60s, if you wanted to get to people, what'd you do?
You mean for
mean,
media?
How did you reach people through the media?
Newspaper.
Right. Was there any other? Could you use?
Not everybody had a TV, really. Maybe radio, but the newspaper.
But could you use social media?
No, not at all.
Right. And could you use like a reality show?
No.
So what happened is because media's changed, and you and I have seen it. Again,
Yeah.
we noticed it 30 years. So 30 years ago, when I was involved in desktop video, how many channels were on your TV or cable system?
Yeah, maybe cable, maybe like 30.
You had
Depends
better
on where you
cable.
live, yeah.
When I was doing it, your cable system was like 12 channels,
Right.
and one of them was TBS. Remember that?
Yeah,
Ted Turner's.
yeah. Turner
And
Broadcast.
The big deal was you could watch Braves games
Uh-huh.
from anywhere, right?
Oh, because he was Atlanta.
Right. And that was a big deal then.
Huh.
But now, if your cable system doesn't have 200 channels,
It's a loser.
right, and if you're watching cable,
It's going to have a streaming app as well. Right, cable is already old news. You're
right.
going to have all
Cable's
the
old
Braves
news.
app to watch the game.
so as media changed, Operation Mockingbird changed.
Yes,
That's my point.
yes.
My point is that at the time, in the 50s and 60s, when people think about it, it was controlling the New York Times, the Washington Post, something else. But the guy who actually taught a lot of lessons on this was a guy named Lloyd Scherer. Now, let me spell that name and repeat it after me, because my voice is bad because of my strokes. So, Scherer is spelled Shearer.
Shearer.
Like, and his first
Shears.
name was Lloyd,
Yeah.
and he's a big deal. He's a really huge deal because when he passed away, first off, his children are people named Cody Scherer, okay, Derek Scherer, and Brooke Scherer. Now, Brooke Scherer married Derek's college roommate named Strobe Tubbett.
Mm-hmm.
Strobe Tubbett has, basically, he's best known for being head of Brookings Institute.
Well, and also arguably for being Bill Clinton's best friend and college roommate.
He was, yes, he was. And so I'll talk about that for a second. I'm trying not to overwhelm.
He left Brookings in 2017 or 18, and they were very involved in Russiagate.
First off, yes, right. What I'm saying is these people are affecting us today.
Yes.
Cody Scherer, and recently a story came out that Kash Patel revealed some info about Russiagate that they'd had. Now, what everybody missed, it's in the story, is information about Cody Scherer. That's who Cody Scherer wrote the first dossier.
Nobody ever talks about that, except for
Right.
you. You've
And,
mentioned it before.
And they say in the press he wrote the second dossier. No, I disagree.
But I thought the press says that Glenn Simpson and Christopher Steele wrote the second dossier.
Right. Everyone thinks of the Steele dossier as the first dossier.
Yeah, the only one, really.
Makes sense?
It's the only one everybody knows about.
So, right. Because, right, they think of the Steele dossier as the first dossier, and therefore Cody's is the second. But I would disagree, because Cody's came chronologically first. Okay? Now, here's what I think happened. They took the Scherer dossier to the NSA court and tried to get
The FISA court, you mean?
the forgive me, the FISA court. Misspeak.
And you know who was the judge there?
No,
Boasberg.
really.
Yeah.
And so that judge turned down their FISA request, and that is rare. But I think here's the thing. He saw this dossier written by two people, Sid Blumenthal and Cody Scherer. Now, Sid and Cody are friends, and they've worked together since Clinton's campaign in '98. Now, we know that because there's plenty of evidence of that. But so let's go back, because one mentioned the Shearers and Strobe Talbot. Strobe Talbot was Bill Clinton's roommate at Oxford. Okay, when Clinton went to Oxford in 1969, he was a roommate. But at Yale, before Strobe Talbot went to Oxford, he was at Yale. And it was his roommate there. Derek Shearer.
Oh, yeah, because Bill Clinton didn't go to Yale, did he? No.
Right. But at Yale, Strobe Talbot was Derek Shearer's roommate. And so, picture the scenario, right? A guy's your roommate, he's got a sister. You meet the sister.
It could happen. I think that happens a lot. People date their best friend's sister. And
So, I'm saying there's a natural progression.
yeah.
He was Derek Shearer's roommate at Yale, met Brooke Shearer, and married her. Okay? And she's passed away now. But Strobe Talbot was Brooke Shearer's, so it's close to that family.
Yeah.
Right? We know that for sure. And Derek Shearer was his roommate. Now, Derek Shearer, no one talks about this, is who the Trump Tower meeting was about. Now, that's provable.
But does all this tie into the fight with Elon Musk?
Yes, because I'm trying to say the way power works, like who's got power? As a journalist, Cy Hirsch, let's say. Cy Hirsch, I've talked to him. He's a smart guy. He knows politics.
Great reputation, sources.
Great reputation. Now, he knew Lloyd Shearer. Lloyd Shearer was not thought of as a political writer. He was a gossip columnist.
Parade, right?
Right. But when Lloyd Shearer died, Cy knew him. And he said, what Lloyd Shearer taught me was it's not all about politics. So let's go back to basics again. Who's got power? Okay. If you've got someone who's a genius, a history professor of geopolitics, Pablo Escobar, or who am I thinking of from Colombia?
El Chapo? I don't know.
I'm forgetting his name. Brilliant writer. So, okay, picture a guy, history professor, knows geopolitics, been around the world. How many votes does he get when the election comes?
Yeah, one.
Right. Now, let's say his next door neighbor is an idiot.
It still gets one.
That's my point. And watches TV all day, eats uncooked TV dinners. So picture the stupidest person you know, 70 IQ. He gets as many votes as the
Super
genius.
Yeah.
So if you want to win an election, the lesson here to me is if you focus just on thinking, okay, I want to win this election by convincing the smart people,
No way.
it's only going to take you so far.
Right. It's much easier to convince,
Right.
let's say less sophisticated people who can be manipulated by social media. So do you
Right.
think that Musk was doing some kind of manipulation with this fight, or Trump and Musk coordinating?
Well, I'm about to ask who's got more power. And
I think Trump
it's
right
why
now.
It's why it's hard to say. They have different kinds of power.
And also, when Trump is not president, we've already seen his power is substantially diminished, right? When he was out of office, they had him in court. They was worried he was going to go to jail. I think arguably, long term, Elon Musk has the potential to have more power, particularly since he's been talking about how he's going to be funding primaries for other candidates and stuff.
I'll just say this. It's sound like a criticism. It's not. It's reality. Why was Trump elected?
He's popular.
We've no. Well, yeah, he got the most votes,
Right.
but everyone vote for him understand economics or foreign policy.
No.
Right. There's some guys who voted for him just like The Apprentice.
Right. Or that he's sticking it to the man or whatever.
Right. And
Fighting the deep state.
Trump did get to fame by being Trump, then on TV. The Apprentice helped Trump a tremendous amount. I'm not criticizing him, but be real, okay?
But also, he would never have gotten The Apprentice if he wasn't Trump. I mean, particularly being in New York, like growing up, Trump was always in the news, like with chasing models and buying
right.
yachts. And he was like at a time when maybe business people and real estate developers like that, really, you just didn't even know their names. He definitely was an expert at like self-publicity more than anybody else, and now licensing his name. I forget where I read this, or maybe I saw it in a documentary. His breakthrough in the real estate world was the concept of licensing his name and putting value in his brand.
Right. He was doing a lot of stuff like that. Now, so again, not criticism. Now, I don't like this guy I'm going to talk about next, Zelensky.
Yeah.
How does Zelensky get elected president?
Being on TV, you're right.
Again.
Almost a reality show.
And who's funding that? A guy named Kolomoisky.
One-on-one media, yeah.
One of the oligarchs in Ukraine, who promoted the TV show and then also
The campaign party, yeah, the political party.
So what I'm saying is, see, I'm just being realistic. This is how the world works. I might not like it. You might not like it.
It's just
but it doesn't matter. Right. Zelensky got elected because, first off, his competition was unlikable. But also, he played a teacher who became president of Ukraine, and he seemed nice.
Right. They created an image for him on TV.
And that's why, now again, that's not what happened with Trump. I will say this. It's not like Soros was backing Trump and got him The Apprentice. But if I was Soros,
you could do something like that.
You could do something.
And now that the model is there, it's almost like they saw what Trump did. And then, when did that show with Zelensky come out? Do we know?
Well, I think in between. I'll answer vaguely, but we could look it up. But between 2014 and 2018, I would say.
Because what I'm saying is, if it happened after 2016, it might almost even be the case that somebody said, hey, wait a minute. Trump was on TV, and then he became president. Let's make a TV show about a stooge who we want to make the candidate. Like, it could have been, we do need to look it up. I don't have a computer involved in this show right now, but that would be interesting to know exactly when that, what is it called? Servant of the People or something like that?
Yes, exactly.
It would be interesting to know when that show came. Check it on the iPad, or we'll check it later. But the point is, if they modeled it after Trump, that would be very interesting. And we should expect that something like that would happen again in the future.
Right. And here's what I'm saying. Let's say you were a Democrat, okay, and you wanted to promote Democrats, and you said, like John Fetterman from Pennsylvania, what I would do is I would host a reality show about his recovery from a stroke.
He's done well, hasn't he?
What's that?
He's done, it's a good recovery, I think. He doesn't seem to have that machine with him anymore. His speech has improved. Like you.
I've seen mixed up on that.
But that's what I mean. It's these stroke recoveries, I think we're learning a lot about it. It's up and
Well,
down.
I'll put it like this. If you did a reality show, you know, overcoming fear, whatever you call it, by Mark Burnett, okay, and you put Fetterman on a show week after week.
People would like him.
Right. And you showed him overcoming a stroke, going through physical therapy.
Right. He'd be the hero of the show. Sympathetic character.
Made a reality show.
Right.
I think he would possibly, if he just doesn't get elected, he would come close.
Right.
I think it would be a top tier candidate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's nothing to do with his policies, nothing to do with his ideas.
Just media manipulation, strictly.
So, you know, I was friends with Brad Carby,
Yes.
a good friend of mine, and his brother is Dana Carby.
Brad died, didn't he?
What?
Or did he? I thought did Brad die?
I haven't talked to Brad in a while, but as far as I
He had
know,
a heart attack or something.
yeah, but he didn't die.
Okay, yeah, sorry,
That was a
Brad.
few years ago.
Sorry, Brad.
Dana had heart problems. So.
Yeah, runs in the family.
So Dana said something about, Dana knows a lot about being famous. And he said this before, He said, if you had a head of cabbage and you put the cabbage on TV for a half hour, he had a show called The Cabbage. It rotated around for a half hour.
People would like it.
Put it on NBC. And then you took the cabbage out to a restaurant. Just you and I walk in holding the cabbage. Dan said, people would go, that's the cabbage from TV. God, I got to take a selfie with the cabbage. Now, it's funny, but it's true,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. So if you put Fetterman on TV, overcoming strokes, which would be the right way to do it.
Yeah.
Because right now people would say the thing not going for him would be a stroke. But here's the thing about fame. They can like you for that. But let's say you found out he left his wife to go with Diddy's ex-girlfriend. Or Diddy, let's say.
Visiting him in jail, conjugal visits with the baby oil.
Right. But you see what I'm saying? The thing that got him famous would suddenly work against him. So let's talk about Little X. Elon's kid.
4-year-old, yeah.
Okay, remember the footage of Little X and Trump walking across to the
To the helicopter.
helicopter?
Yeah, it was very cute.
It's objectively cute.
The little kid running next to him, almost like his grandfather, looks like he's trying to hold his hand.
Exactly right. And so, and it made
Trump very sympathetic, absolutely.
and made
Even if
also-
you hated Trump, you had to say, look, that's cute.
That's right. And so my point is, if you and I know this, just watching, and a guy like Dan is a smart guy, I'm not knocking him, but Dan Crow knows this. I'll tell you who also knows this. The CIA. I mean, if you and I know it,
Yeah.
the CIA knows this
Definitely.
for sure.
Yeah.
And so that's why when a guy like Bill Browder came out, again, leave the issues about Browder out. His book looks like a Jack Reacher novel. So when you're walking through the airport
Red
to
Notice, you're
get to a
talking
plane, like, and you got a 5-hour flight, and you want to grab something at the bookstore to get on a plane with, and you see a book on geopolitics,
With the bald 65-year-old guy.
or you see a book that looks like a Jack Reacher
Spy novel, right, yeah.
Right. What are you going to grab?
Yeah, obviously.
Right. And so they know what they're doing. And they use entertainment. That's why Khodorkovsky, a guy like I've talked about a lot, they use entertainment to get votes. Now, again, you could go, well, that shouldn't matter.
But it does.
But it does. And the people who run things, like the CIA, know it. And that's why they use it. And I'll tell you who else knows it. Rupert Murdoch.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And so when he has Dan Bongino on a show for years,
Who?
Dan Bongino,
Oh, Dan, right, yeah.
I'll call him the cabbage. Because I think it's a good analogy.
Yeah.
But no, I'm almost.
No, you're right. They created a whole army of Dan Bongino fans who now support him as the FBI deputy director. And that guy's he's just switching between jawboning and gum flapping.
And when Bongino was hosting a podcast or hosting a show on Fox or filling in for Handy, talking tough, if I was
Yeah.
in charge, what I'd do is I'd bust these suckers.
Smash the
Like a
deep
70s show
Yeah.
dialogue. I'm going to take down these mothers. Yay, we like Dan Bongino. Now he's in position.
Nothing.
He's still talking the same way.
But
Right.
he's not really doing.
So-
Now, Lee, hang on a second, because we're coming up to the end of our intro here, and we're going to continue the show in the sponsor exclusive segment. People who are sponsoring you on patreon.com/Stranahan are going to be able to join us also on subscribestar.com and patreon.com/crowdsource the truth and Odyssey. and
Let's
stuff
just show
like-
one thing before the end.
Sure.
Okay. I've been doing, anyone who follows me knows I've been working with AI graphics a lot
Yes.
for a couple of years. And I used to do graphics on my radio show, but I've been working with AI graphics, and I was waiting for them to get better. Like,
And computer graphics for 30 years. That's how you and I first met.
that's right. And so I've been saying I'm waiting for these to get better because you couldn't make a film
Until
like
now.
6 months ago.
Yeah.
You could generate AI video, but like if I got a shot of Jason, he might be wearing that shirt in one clip, and another clip he's wearing a different shirt, and so it doesn't look real.
Yeah.
So I've been testing this. VO's the new thing from Google. It's very good, but this is why I've been working with my AI girlfriend Kate, because showing that a consistent look is possible.
Right.
But even she can't wear the same clothes every clip. When she generates pictures, her face looks the same, but I can't predict what her clothes are going to look like.
But let's show everybody this clip, though, because this is amazing.
So I wanted them to see this. I've now produced a clip. This is a clip showing Strobe Talbot and Bill Clinton in 1969 at Oxford. It starts with a big shot of Oxford, okay? And then you see Bill and Strobe. Now, this is all AI created.
Yep.
And so what people are seeing as they walk of fade.
Is it rolling? Yeah, it's going.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Okay. So that clip is AI generated, and you notice Strobe Talbot's wearing the same clothes from shot to shot. He's got a little pocket protector.
I guess it's pretty high bit rate is what's happening.
What's that?
Maybe it's high bit rate. We've got a slow connection here in the house, but that's really great that you've recreated Bill Clinton and Strobe Talbot from the 60s.
And so the big deal is I can create anybody. I could have you walking,
in Oxford.
or me, or anybody. So the point is, as a documentary filmmaker, trying to present a complex topic.
Right.
Like I've talked about this Strobe Talbot, Bill Clinton thing for a long time, but me jawboning about it.
Not the same as seeing it visualized like that with AI. No, it's incredibly powerful. You started sending me those clips the other day. People should follow you on X at Stranahan. And again, you know, our next segment's coming up. Right now, people are going to be able to join us on patreon.com/Stranahan, all of the other Crowdsource the Truth sponsored channels. Thanks everybody for sponsoring the show. I really appreciate it. People can also follow me on X at JG_CSTT. Take us out, Lee. What's the last thing you want to say? What was the last thing you wanted to say there, Lee? Okay. We'll be back in 5 minutes.